Tonight, the National Youth Council issues a statement on alleged sexual misconduct allegations involving a high-ranking member. Minister Herman Gil-Francis launches a scathing attack on Dr. Kenny Anthony on the matter of impacts after the SLP called for answers. And a school scuffle gone viral prompts concern about youth violence and viral content culture. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 11th of May, 2021. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. The National Youth Council is at the center of an explosive alleged sex scandal. A high-ranking member of the NYC was written to formally by the executive, being summoned to a meeting to discuss disreputable material in the public domain. That letter to a named party is now in the public domain and alleges sexual misconduct with students, one of whom is another member of the NYC. The National Youth Council released a statement on the matter on Tuesday, indicating that an investigation is currently underway. Let's go to Nisha Charles for that NYC statement.
The letter dated the 11th of May 2021 reads, "The St. Lucia National Youth Council has a zero tolerance for alleged matters of misconduct among members, and hence a matter regarding the circulation of disreputable material on a member of the National Executive is currently under investigation. Our members are deeply saddened by the situation, which questions the organization's mission to advocate for and promote the welfare of youth across various backgrounds and interests. We are cognizant of the likely impact that the information presently in the public domain may have on the image of the organization, and reiterate that our membership is fully engaged to bring a swift resolution to the matter. Given the nature of the ongoing investigation, the St. Lucia National Youth Council calls on members of the media to practice responsible journalism, as misinformation can further exacerbate an already complex matter. Our responsibility to the young people of St. Lucia demands transparency at this time, and we will keep our constituents and stakeholders updated on the necessary interventions."
Thank you, Nisha. The matter is a sensitive one, allegedly involving underage students. Attempts to obtain a comment from the president of the NYC or members of the executive proved futile. Minister Herman Gil-Francis is answering to the calls made by the St. Lucia Labour Party, asking for transparency on the status of the impacts investigation. The National Security Minister says in reality, the government is working hard to clean up a mess created by the former SLP administration. He says former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony may have forgotten his alleged indiscretions, but the people have not. Rochelle Gonzalez has more.
On Monday, Communications Officer of the St. Lucia Labour Party, Mondi Lewis, issued a press release calling for answers from the Alan Chastney administration in relation to the status of the impacts investigation, which has been ongoing since the SLP administration exposed damning findings of Operation Restore Confidence in 2014. One day later, National Security Minister Herman Gil-Francis has stepped up to respond to the matter. Francis said the government is still actively working to bring the issue to a close. However, he believes that there is a bigger picture to be explored and that the previous SLP administration has a major part to play in the origin of the problem.
In 2010-2011, we had what the police operation called Operation Restore Confidence, ORC. And we know that at least 12 persons, I think young men, lost their lives. And so at that time, it was very close to the elections of 2011, and we know what Dr. Anthony did. Dr. Anthony came to the public and showed a list and said that was a hit list. We have to understand that in 2011, after 2 years into the reign of the St. Lucia Labour Party, the Leahy Law came in. So Leahy Law was not imposed during the time of the United Workers' Party. And just before going any further, I just want to show you a plaque, and I want you to look at the plaque very carefully. You will see that is a plaque from the United States, okay? When we had trade winds being held in St. Lucia in 2013. And I want to read the inscription. It says, "Presented to the government of St. Lucia in appreciation for the hosting of TradeWinds 2013. And this is from the Americans.
What is the connection, you may ask? Well, according to Francis, it was not Operation Restore Confidence that turned the U.S. away from St. Lucia, as the trade winds clearly showed that the two nations were still working together 2 years after the killings. Francis indicated that the damage was done by broken promises.
We know for a fact, before the 2011 elections, and that cannot be refuted, that Dr. Anthony and some members of the St. Lucia Labour Party went to the embassy in Barbados and gave some damning information about a particular member of the United Workers' Party at the time. That member of the United Workers' Party has come out, and the story is very clear. He has accused them of saying all sorts of things about him, and his visa was revoked just before the 2011 elections. Dr. Anthony and them must have given the Americans the assurance that they would have dealt with the report as quickly as possible. They did not, based on what they told the Americans. And if you give somebody hope and that you're going to do something positive about a situation and you renege on that promise, obviously there's going to be action to pay. In 2013, we have to also take into consideration that President Biden, who was then Vice President of the United States, visited Trinidad and Tobago. What happened at that time? The St. Lucia Labour Party actually sent the present leader of the opposition to represent St. Lucia. And when Dr. Anthony then went to Cuba to get some award. Also around that time, we signed Petro-Caribe. We know what the Americans' foreign policy is. And obviously, I think it had a part to play. The date is that you fooled us, you gave us information, you promised us something, and now you're just looking at us and doing things that is going against our foreign policy. So I am saying, and I'm recommending that had a part to play.
Going back to the ORC killings, Francis explained that there were processes and procedures to follow, yet the SLP leader went against them all, as well as advice from his own cabinet, and released the findings of the ORC report. This, Francis said, was evidence that the matter was mishandled by the former PM.
Dr. Anthony is the one who partly handled this report, and everything. He is the one that must be held responsible. And St. Lucians must light the fire and have him to kind of explain himself. I know for a fact that when that report came, he discussed it at his cabinet meeting. And every minister present advised him not to make that televised appearance. But in true fashion, Dr. Anthony went ahead and did that. So we cannot blame anybody except Dr. Anthony.
Responding to claims that the UWP government broke a promise that they would close the impacts matter as soon as they came into power, Francis said he was the one speaking on the matter and he never promised such. Rather, he indicated that the party was in for a major challenge to right this wrong. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Meanwhile, the National Security Minister is also questioning the motives of the St. Lucia National Trust as the organization is pursuing legal action against the government for the demolition of the Royal Jail. Although the National Trust has stated that their actions are not anti-government, Minister Francis says he believes the truth is contrary to their statement.
Following the news that the St. Lucia National Trust has filed a lawsuit against the government of St. Lucia for the demolition of the Royal Jail in Castries, National Security Minister Hermangild Francis has revealed that he is left with more questions than solutions on this matter. Francis said he is perplexed as to why this course of action was taken in the first place. Francis said his confusion is left worsened knowing that the former St. Lucia Labour Party administration has contributed to worst atrocities against the island's patrimony. Yet, no such actions were taken against them by the trust.
I'm baffled by the reason why a lawsuit at this time would come from the trust. But again, I'm not even too sure whether that as an entity they have the right to do it. But if they do have the right to do it, then all well and good. It's going to be fought in court, and that's why you have the Attorney General representing the government. It's very, very interesting that the trust will do something at this time, when you had other incidents where Dr. Anthony and the St. Lucia Labour Party did things that were even more outrageous. and you look at La Paradise. Okay, right now, I'm sure for the last couple of months you would have seen stories of Prale where people are finding snakes in their residence and in areas near their homes. What has happened with La Paradise is that Paradise was an area where we had a lot of species of snakes, birds and so on. Now it's almost non-existent because of the concrete that is there. So those snakes have found their way in areas where they are better equipped to deal with. You had the pitas. Again, you would see that persons were trying to give the United Workers' Party the pressure of persons bailing on the pitas, and then later you found out that that is not so. That Dr. Anthony gave persons approved status and all those other things.
The National Security Minister expressed his belief that some of the members of the trust are on an ego trip. He went back to the time when the former SLP leader Dr. Kenny Anthony was all for the demolition of the site. He asked that Dr. Anthony remain consistent with his wishes.
In Dr. Anthony himself, when he was opening of Bodley, he made a statement and quoted some lord who had said that this was the deep dark hole of Kolkata and so on. And so he agreed with the individual who said that building should have been blown up by dynamite. And he agreed to that. And all of a sudden now that you think you can make political mileage out of it, you are going to switch. And that is the issue. We don't have the sort of, I'm looking for the word, honesty in ourselves that when we make a decision, we stick to our decision.
As for the status of the site, what is to come of it? Francis said all plans are on track and that the historic aspect of the former jail will still be very much present.
The drawings and things for the police headquarters and the Hall of Justice is being prepared. We are making as much effort because we took some photographs of the old prison and some of the artifacts and the little drawings and so on. And as much as possible of that will be implemented or incorporated in the new structure. What we have always said is that there were some artifacts that were taken, is that we have to have a room somewhere in that building that visitors can come and you can actually have a look and see what was there before. So you don't really have to have the structure itself, but you can have some photographs and artifacts that were found at the prison site in a room where persons can go on a day when there's a police week. You know, that the day you visit the police station, they show you exactly what is being done. We can actually do a tour of that area.
Francis said in the end, St. Lucia belongs to every citizen regardless of party preference, and so it is unfair that locals are allowing politics to stand in the way of national progress. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. Still to come, 10 new COVID cases are confirmed. A school fight gone viral prompts concern about youth violence and the negative impact of viral phenomena. Amid increased cases of COVID-19, the Education Ministry assures the public that schools have things under control, and Cocky is laid to rest.